And speaking of people I'm not a fan of, let's finish up with what's going on in Canada, because obviously this story is not going anywhere. And I think one of the things that Justin Trudeau is really going to prey on right now is that the media will just move on. The worldwide media, which has basically ignored what's happening up there, or when they do cover it, we've shown you some of the stuff from CNN and MSNBC, they basically mock the people who are protesting peacefully and fighting for their rights in an honest way, the way you're supposed to do it in a free society. I think Trudeau, now that he's ramped up all of these emergency powers, he's hoping that, some other stories will happen. Maybe we could get a war in Ukraine or something, and people will stop paying attention. But it is ramping up in Canada. That is the simple truth. They are literally, I saw a video this morning, they have police going out in Ottawa, handing out flyers to people saying that you will be arrested or fined if you're out on the streets right now. We covered already this insanity related to how they will look into the people who donated to some of the crowdfunding that was supporting the truckers. I mean, it's really nuts stuff. And now here is one of Justin Trudeau's ministers talking about how they will target Trump supporters. What?
Look, you've just compared people who may have donated to this to the same people who are funding maybe a terrorist. I just want to be clear here, sir. This is really important. A lot of folks says, look, I just don't like your vaccine mandates and I donated to this. Now it's illegal. Should I be worried that the bank can freeze my account? What's your answer to that?
Well, I think if you are a member of a pro-Trump movement who's donating hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to this kind of thing, then you ought to be worried.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? These are bad people. We live in a time where the people who pretend to be the good people are the bad people. You're allowed to do with your money what you see fit. Most of the people, first off, what's he talking about? The people, if you're a member of a Trump movement who donated hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, what is he talking about? This was all completely grassroots. Now, there may be somebody who was a big Trump supporter who donated a bunch of money, but we know that there were thousands and thousands of people who were throwing in $25, $50 just to support these people. Not to support violence, not to support racism, just to support people's right to fight for what they believe in and do it peacefully. And that's exactly what they were doing. And now Trudeau and this clown, these are the people that are escalating this nonsense. But the way they link it, you see what they're doing? They're linking it to something having to do with Trump. And they're going to somehow try to link it so that the people who are the truckers, that they're the racists. And that's sort of like the racists that support Trump and January 6th insurrection and trucker insurrection. Like, you can see how the machine morphs. It's evil, but I admire its evil. I don't admire its evil. I admire the way it does it. Like the disgusting way it does it right in front of our faces, and we always have to react to it. Like, you got to give the devil his due on that, right? This thing is evil. It does it right in front of us. But finally, what might be happening up in Canada is that their Conservative Party, which basically has been a Liberal Party. They've got a Liberal Party and a Conservative Party. They're very, very similar. They also have the People's Party of Canada, which is sort of their Libertarian Party, led by Maxime Bernier, who I just taped an interview with, we're going to put up tomorrow. That's sort of the more real libertarian, like government get out of my way party. But in essence, they've had this Liberal Party that Trudeau is the head of, and they have the Conservative Party. They don't have much difference. The Conservative Party pretty much just bows to the Liberal Party. But finally, it does seem that the Conservative Party might be getting some balls. They might just be ready to stand up to this guy. We've mentioned how a couple of the premiers in some of the provinces, they are not going to listen to Trudeau. They're pushing against these emergency powers. Well, yesterday, a Jewish conservative, and you'll see why I mentioned that she's Jewish, a Jewish conservative member of parliament, started going after Trudeau, and just listen to the way he dismissed her.
Hopeful vision for public life isn't a naive dream. It could be a powerful force for change. If Canadians are to trust their government needs to trust Canadians. Those are the words of the Prime Minister in 2015. These people, very often misogynistic, racist, women haters, science deniers, the fringe. Same Prime Minister 6 years later as he fans the flames of an unjustified national emergency. So, Mr. Speaker, when did the Prime Minister lose his way? When did it happen?
You're right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Conservative Party members can stand with people who wave swastikas. They can stand with people who wave the Confederate flag. We will choose to stand with Canadians who deserve to be able to get to their jobs, who be able to get their lives back. These illegal protests need to stop, and they will, Mr. Speaker.
Justin Trudeau is an evil, soulless lizard person. There is nothing real about that cardboard cutout of a human being. She's using his words against him. Now, she happens to be Jewish. From what I understand, she lost family members in the Holocaust, okay? And then he dares say that, oh, you stand with people who wave swastikas and stand for the Confederate flag, which, by the way, where are all the videos on that? Can we get some of them? I'll play them. Phoenix, I want you to do a dive tomorrow like you've never done before. I want every single swastika, every single Confederate flag, every single mean sign. I'm a mean man and I'm out here protesting for freedom with the truckers. Supposedly there was one, and it is very unclear whether it was planted or not. And one bad apple doesn't ruin the bunch. There have been thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of protesters out there. But all Trudeau has is you guys are racist. You guys are Nazis. You're homophobes and transphobes and Islamophobes and phobiaphobes. And enough is enough. So finally, the Conservative Party and their leader of the Conservative Party, we've played some clips of her, Candice Bergen, not Candice Bergen, American TV star Candice Bergen from Murphy Brown, a different Candice Bergen. But it would be funny if it was her. A different Candice Bergen, like they're actually kind of lining up and they're saying we are going to fight this insanity. But Trudeau's got nothing now. And what happens? What happens to someone who has no principles? What happens to someone who comes in preaching rainbows and diversity and all of that nonsense when they have painted themselves into a corner? Because he did this to himself. It did not have to be this way.